Namaste, everyone. I want to welcome you to this beautiful introduction on remembering Lemuria, the Lemurian Keys, and the Trinity teachings with myself, Taya Raine. I am so excited to be here with you all. I can honestly say there is no subject I love more than anything about Lemuria. You may already know that I have a book. You may have already read it, and perhaps you haven't. So, in a second, I'm going to introduce you to my book that is called The Lemurian Keys. And then we're going to dive into what this coursework is all about. But to begin with, I'd like to welcome you to just settle in. Hopefully, there aren't any distractions. You're not driving, you're somewhere you can really just allow yourself to be present. So, if you have anything that's distracting you, I would suggest to just kind of let yourself have this time, releasing outside thoughts, worries, and distractions as we do when we come into our class or our coursework has such value as we know and how we receive. So now that you've done that, I welcome you to just begin to feel into your body, explore your mind space, feeling into your spiritual connection as you listen to what this is all about. So here's this moment where I will introduce my book to you. All right. The Lemurian Keys, Book One of the Tara trilogy, Tara Legend of the Earth. So this book is a series. This indeed is the first book, and there are two more to come. I am working on the second one right now. So I'm just going to hold the book for a bit to allow it to hold space as I begin to talk. Usually when I talk, it is very organic. It's never rehearsed, that's for sure. So I just dive in and see what is there to be explored. So when I was 18, I began remembering Lemuria in a very, very big way. And inside of this book is, in part, the story of me being brought back in time, no less, to the very creation of our world and the first civilization of Lemuria in a very, very direct, beautiful, powerful way. And as that began to happen for me, as I was being brought back in time by the Galactic Council, the family of light, the memories began to activate inside of me. So not only was I shown what our history was like, a version of the creation of our world and what the original beautiful ancestors were like and how they lived, but it really was awakened from within. So I know so many of you can relate to that, that you began to feel at some point that you had Lemurian memories arising. And maybe some of you are seeking the memories that you maybe sense are there. So wherever you are on that spectrum, I feel there is something here for everyone in this coursework. And it's a beautiful opportunity for us to come together and work with the energies of Lemuria just at the most base levels of why we're coming together on the course is that fact, the unifying consciousness of remembering Lemuria. And from there, we begin to explore so much about Lemuria, awakening the Lemurian keys and working with some of what I refer to as the Trinity teachings. Okay, so I'm going to set the book down. I'll probably pick it back up again, but it's here holding space as I begin to describe a little bit more what we're going to do when we come into our coursework. Let me begin by saying that it is 7 days, so 7 classes. Each are 90 minutes on Zoom. They are recorded, so you have the recordings. 5 of them are live. And then the last 2 are recorded classes for you. You will, of course, then have them forevermore, and you're free to use them in whatever way you wish to within yourself and your practice. So there is huge value within all of this. I am offering this at an amazing price in order to really support the summit. I will say that it has huge, huge value, but at the price of literally $77, this is a phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal price. When I work with people on course, and if you've taken my other courses, you probably know this of me, I dive deep and I always give my all. I am so passionate about what I am here to give and share. And I love working with people and I love building the group energy. So the first thing that we will do on every class is a little share, and it will begin with talking about what brought you here, kind of the most natural place to begin. Then we will begin to talk more about Lemuria. We will begin to talk more about the soul and our connection to our soul, to family of light, and so on and so forth. And we'll just begin to build that container of our community together. That within itself has huge value. Any of you that have done group work, I'm sure you know the value. If you never have, let me just say that it is such a welcoming place. It's a feeling of coming home when you're with others that are on the spiritual path. It is always a safe, non-judgmental, compassionate place. And you are free to explore your beingness in whatever way you so wish to inside of the coursework. So there's a lot of freedom and there's a lot of liberation that is there. Then after we've done our sharing, each class, I'm going to help you begin to explore the connection to Lemuria more in several ways. One is that we're going to do visualizations and activations to really get the transmissions moving through each of you and through the collective. The way that I do this essentially is by opening a field with you together where we access prayer and intention to really connect with that Lemurian energy. And then I give you teachings, tools, and techniques to really anchor that into the field. Inside of this, it becomes very powerful, and so much of it is beyond words. But trust me when I say those gateways, those portals or doorways into the Lemurian consciousness really do activate. It activates within our DNA, within our cells, and within the field at large. As we are doing this, sometimes and very often, huge healings take place, huge activations and accelerations and healings for each person, for the collective. And then, as we know, when we're doing work, we're doing it for the whole. So, at the most basic level, coming together just to anchor the energies, the fundamental energies of the beginning of time, helps to activate that for the planet. And I really believe that this is so because I experience that within, and I see that happen for others as they are awakening those portals. If you are somebody that is already working with the energies, not to worry. I feel there is still something here for everyone. For one, because as we know, we can always deepen into what we hold and carry and vibrate with. And secondly, because there's always something of benefit when we experience a new teaching and technique, right? So no matter where you are on the spectrum, whether it is completely new to you, or again, you're a long-term adept with connecting with the Lemurian energies, there could be something brilliant here for you. If at the end of this video you still have more questions, please feel free to email me. We can hop on a 20-minute call. I really want to gather as many people as possible. So if you want to help spread the word, that would be wonderful. Okay, so then after we've done our visualization and our awakening and our transmissions, we're really in this beautiful, beautiful deepened state. I then begin to give you some of the teachings that were given to me known as the Lemurian Keys and the Trinity teachings. It is such a gift to receive these beautiful, beautiful teachings. And then each day you have the opportunity throughout your day and night leading up to the next class to practice those teachings. So you can treat this as a beautiful little mini retreat where you have the guidance and the group collective to keep your focus going throughout the week. And then, of course, you can continue on for the rest of your life and on into infinity with any of the teachings, tools, and techniques that you find to be of value. In my experience, they do truly have infinite value, and you can always find something new within them. So again, there is huge, huge value within this. I'm not going to give away too much on what the Lemurian keys are, but I know you're very curious. I would be. So I'm going to give you a tiny, tiny example. One of the teachings inside of the Lemurian keys is the understanding of breath of life as it pertained to how the Lemurians were breathing, no less. So this is a huge, huge key. This is something I work very deeply within in the teachings that I offer, which are the Tara breathwork aspects of the umbrella of the Tara Mystery School teachings. I meant to say at the beginning, the umbrella of the teachings I work with, the Tara Mystery School teachings. So you get an activation and an understanding and a sampling of how to breathe like a Lemurian. And it is the number one key to how they were so different than we are today. How did they exist? I'll just kind of say a tiny bit on that right now to kind of inspire you or affirm what you already know, if that's the case. They were in unity consciousness. They were full of love and light and such high energy. They were one with nature. They were one with the ethers. They lived in harmony and peace with one another. And they were vastly multidimensional and extremely high in frequency. At the same time, they were very connected to our beautiful planet, which in the beginning of time was so different than it is today. So as we activate these keys each day, I'll also talk a little bit about Lemuria. And I will suggest that if you haven't read my book, if you feel so called, that you grab a copy off of Amazon and go ahead and begin to read it. If you feel called to, you can also read it during the course. You can read it after the course, and it will be hugely activating, and it will be very deeply inspiring and help you to understand all of these teachings very, very directly. The teachings are kind of sprinkled throughout this book, little samples and activations. However, I am working specifically on a workbook to go with the Lemurian keys. So that is in the works. I just wanted to plant that seed for you. But the book definitely helps to transport you and to bring you back and to activate you, because it has been literally activated with codes of light since I was 19, essentially. So lots of light that is in this beautiful story. It's written in story form. It also is interwoven with my own story of awakening in Hawaii and meeting my spiritual teacher and working with these very breathwork techniques that I am referring to. So again, it helps to have the book to dive in and really experience that fully. All right, the next part is the Trinity teachings. So I'm not going to say a huge amount on that. The Trinity teachings, I love to do this when I reference the Trinity teachings and am introducing them, pertains to a series of teachings that I was given that were derived in Lemuria and handed down through Atlantis. My second book is about Atlantis, and the Trinity teachings are very much within that book. So you're actually getting some of these teachings before the book even comes out. And the reason is that I feel guided to give them, and I already give the Trinity teachings within my other coursework in terms of the Tara Mystery School teachings. But it would be amazing if the book was already here. Once the book is out, of course, you will have that to dive into. The Trinity teachings are so powerful. I'm curious, as you tune in with yourselves, what's happening as you're hearing these words. Is there anything that's activating that you're remembering? Does it feel inspiring? Or is it just kind of a, what is this? All right, so Trinity teachings pertain to the things that move in threes. And there are so many things that powerfully move in threes, as we know, right? So inside of the Trinity teachings, we dive into what I call the big Trinity teachings and then the little Trinity teachings. I'm going to give you just a tiny example of a big Trinity teaching and a little Trinity teaching. So a big Trinity teaching, or a Maha Trinity teaching, is the understanding of the Trinity of selves. And this is, I'm kind of giving away a big part of what we work with, but why not? Because I know you're so curious, and it will help you to see if you want to get on board with this. It is so very powerful. All right, ready for it? It is the Trinity of selves. It is the child self, the middle self, or our adult self, our ego self, and our high self. If you feel to, maybe bring your hands together and get this feeling in you. So with the Trinity of the selves, we dive pretty deeply into understanding what that's all about. It is so very, very powerful. And then inside of the little mini trinities, there are things such as learning to work with the concept of abundance, creativity, and manifestation. So, again, those three things that move together so well. And when we activate them together, it is so very powerful. So, that's an example of a really big one and a smaller one. And I don't want to give away too much more, but I promise you that the way we work with it is so powerful. We dive as deeply as we can within the 7 days, and it all relates to the Lemurian keys. So I guess I just can't emphasize enough that the value in all of this is huge. I have so much that I offer and carry, and honestly, at this point, I'm just trying to give it in as many ways as possible, truly from my heart to all of yours. And to see what happens for other people is so phenomenal. Inevitably, you awaken, wisdom, knowledge, and energy through what you're working with, right? So you bring that back to the collective. And to talk about that on course is incredible. Imagine each day going through all of these huge, beautiful activations, meditations, teachings, and then being able to share that with everyone. The other way that we ground the teachings is that we utilize techniques that help us to really be in our body and literally anchor these things so that they just don't float away, or so that they don't just float away. And one of the ways that we do that is through a little bit of ceremony. I'm going to give a tiny example, and I'm going to begin to wrap up this introduction. So I brought this beautiful white rose to give an example. Throughout the week, I'm going to have you bring different things to the class, and we'll go through ceremony. So for example, when we're working with the white rose, we might be specifically asking to awaken our internal memory of Lemuria and to really fully allow that to blossom within our heart. And whatever we have captured and radiated within that coursework, we're then going to use the rose to ask it to specifically help us to anchor it deeply into our heart and to give our gratitude so that all that we are experiencing continues to unfold and to blossom. So that is a small example. Physical things that we can do have so much power, and maybe you're already familiar with that. And if you're not, I'll just say briefly that when we utilize physical things, physical objects, and we come into ceremony, our spiritual path becomes so much more rich. It's not so evasive and eluding or perhaps floating away all the time. It's always coming totally home to ourselves. And this is part of the Lemurian keys. This is how the Lemurians were so incredible in their unified state, their love, their light, their wisdom. So we'll dive deeply into that and all that I can possibly give you. I will say that some of you, if you come on the coursework with me or you read my book or you already have, you may not fully agree with these concepts on this is exactly how Lemuria was. We can hold it all very loosely. We are essentially looking to activate the light and the harmony and the love, and it's perfectly okay if we have differing experiences or memories, and there may be many reasons for that. One of which I believe some of us could agree on, some of us might not, is that there are different timelines that take place, and we all have different connections into that field. So I just want to say that so that if that encourages you more to come on, because you're not going to hear me saying like it was this way and we're going to do this thing and you're going to believe this way. Not at all. We are going to simply activate the energy, work with the teachings, and you will carry forth what feels right for you and you'll leave the rest behind. Some of it you may revisit later on, as we know happens with teachings. Okay, as I close us out, I'm going to bring my book back up. Inside of our awakening together, inside of the coursework, I just really want to inspire you to bring yourselves exactly as you are. You don't have to be anyone or anything in particular. If you're coming on just because you're curious, beautiful. And again, if you're coming on because you're a long-term adept and you just want to even just compare, that's totally fine as well. We will open a beautiful portal of light, a rainbow portal of light, and we will enter that together. And whatever takes place will be exactly perfect for us inside of this beautiful coursework, remembering Lemuria, the Lemurian Keys, and the Trinity teachings. I hope to see you there. Please help spread the word if you feel to. And aloha from the beautiful Hawaiian Islands on Oahu, from my heart to yours. Mwah.
This has been a presentation of New Earth One Network, your home for New Earth living. Access information, education, and videos on living from the heart in Unity Consciousness. Visit newearth1.com.